To the entire fam, and I'm going to start with you here. So, Damien, tell me this. What's the biggest thing you need to What? What's
wrong? Molly, Damien's back in the corner. Remember for how long?
No, there's no corner.
Like in Scarface's house with the columns behind him.
No.
Then he gets pushed to the corner by the kids. They're all home for the holidays and COVID and everything.
No one puts baby in the corner.
You see what time it is. You got I know there's no corner here. You got the Christmas tree. You got the gifts. So I'm in a festive mood. So I just wanted to show that, this is not, this is not the corner like it was before. Stop it, Max. Stop.
That's a corner. That looks like your Christmas tree that you put there for TV. Will you stop it? Then you got shoved in the corner again, Wood.
Oh my gosh, you guys are nuts.
We claimed the house, damn it, Woody. What's going on with you?
Come on. Damien, tell me this. What do you need to see from the Saints tomorrow?
Listen, I know people are going to talk about Drew Brees, but I'm going to go to the Saints on the defensive side of the football. This is a defense that's, they're playing like they're one of the best in the National Football League. But if you take a closer look at the Saints over the past couple of weeks, there's some issues that I think that needs to be addressed as they make this playoff push, particularly their rush defense. Last week they gave up 4.4 yards an attempt to the Kansas City Chiefs. And the week prior to that, they gave up over 200 yards rushing. That's something that they haven't done since, I believe, 1980, where they given up that many rushing yards, having two separate 100-yard rushers. So when you typically, over the past couple of years, typically what we've seen from the New Orleans Saints on offense, Drew Brees has steadily declined as far as his play is concerned.
Looks like we got a little glitch there.
Defense.
Oh, there we go. Go ahead, Damien. Sorry, we just had a little glitch there.
Wood, you got to move to a part. Wood, you need to move to a part of the house with better Wi-Fi. They stuck you in the corner and they're sucking up all the Wi-Fi with their TikTok. They're on Zoom with their friends. There's no Wi-Fi left in the Woody house.
Well, you might be right. They might be on everywhere with Wi-Fi on. So. But like I said, the Saints defense got to show up. If they want to make a playoff run, a deep playoff run to ultimately get to Tampa, I think this defense got to continue to show up, particularly this week against the Minnesota Vikings and that rushing attack with Dalvin Cook.
Kids, I got to be on TV. Dad, I'm on a Zoom call with my friends. Hey, listen, I hear what you're saying about the defense, Wood. Here's the thing. Right now, the circumstances have conspired to make the defense look worse than it really is. First of all, the Eagles are good with Jalen Hurts because Doug Peterson's actually a very good coach. I had to be reminded. Right? Carson Wentz was holding the team back. As soon as you put Hurts in, it looks like they did when they had Nick Foles, right? Suddenly, they're hard to defend. So I don't hold that against the Saints, and it was going in. It's a trap game. It's the Eagles. They're terrible. Oh, wait a minute. They're not terrible. And Hurts can not only fast, but he can throw the ball too. And so that was one. And then you play the Chiefs. Well, guess what? They might run on you because you have a lot to worry about in the passing game, the vertical passing game especially. So that's going to loosen things up for the run. I'm not too concerned about the Saints' defense. By far, for me, the answer is Drew Brees. What I need to see from the Saints this week is a recovering Drew Brees on a trajectory that would take him to being an elite quarterback again. No, his arm isn't what it used to be, and he never had a howitzer, right? But he needs to be a guy who we believe, he can be in the elite. There's Mahomes and Rodgers, and then there's Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen, and Drew Brees needs to be in that group. If not with Rodgers and Mahomes in that next group. He has to make us believe that because you're right, in recent years, he's worn down. He's old and he gets hit. And by the end of the season, besides calls going against them, he didn't look so great in the playoffs. But in a way, the silver lining for having 1,000 fractured ribs and a punctured lung at the age of 41, right? The silver lining is in recuperating and rehabilitating from that injury, from those injuries. He got some time off in terms of football playing. Maybe he'll be fresher for the playoff run, but he looked bewildered at times and confused in his first game back. It's understandable against, one of the best teams in football. And in the end, it was only a field goal difference. And he didn't have Michael Thomas. Still doesn't have Michael Thomas. won't have Thomas till the playoffs. But Breeze has to show us, has to give us reason now to think, yes, he can actually win a Super Bowl. The team should be good enough when they get Thomas back on both sides of the ball. They have a great coach. They have a real defense. They have great players on offense. They have a real number 2 receiver. Kamara's still great. You know, Breeze has to make us believe it's not simply going to be, well, good shot, but more dynamic quarterbacks were just too much in the moment of truth. He has to make us believe he's still an elite quarterback.
Well, here's the problem, Max. You're talking about how much more can he make? You know, how can he convince us to be elite? A 41-year-old quarterback, usually you're trending in the wrong direction. You're not trending towards getting back to elite level. You're usually trending the other way with Father Time. So that's why, you know, my eyes tend to go towards the defensive side of the football. Because if the New Orleans Saints are going to make this run to the Super Bowl, the defensive side of the football, they need to be elite. They need to be the ones that's going to carry Drew Brees to that Lombardi Trophy.
All right. Viking Saints, 4:30 Eastern. Merry Christmas to the Woody family and Happy New Year. I'll probably talk to you before then.
Type of social media stuff. Is that motivating to you when that stuff comes out and they talk about you in that regards?
I don't blame them. When you play like poo, you should get talked about like that. And so, you know, I need to play better. So if I'm not giving them a reason to talk good, then I'm giving them a reason to talk bad. So that's all on me. I need to play better.
Is that Monday Night Football's Louis Riddick, looking dapper as always. Louis, good to see you. Merry Christmas Eve. I will get to you in just a moment, sir. Max, I'm starting with you, though. This Pittsburgh team, I mean, started on that hot streak, right? Going undefeated. They've now lost 3 straight. Monday night, it was to the lowly Cincinnati Bengals. Ben couldn't throw anything downfield. Do you think he should be the one taking the blame for this 3-game losing streak?
Yep. I mean, you could point to other factors, but if I had to start somewhere, I'd say Ben Roethlisberger. Before I get into Roethlisberger, let me say the schedule has really killed the Steelers. They had to take their bye early. They missed their mini bye. They didn't get to host a Thursday night game at home. They played 3 games in 13 days just as the schedule got tough. All those things are true, and it conspired to make them look worse at this moment than they really are. However, I could point to 3 things that really have held them back recently, and it starts with Ben Roethlisberger not being able to throw the ball down the field. That's where it starts. They're not getting run blocking. That's true. But when your defense is playing up because they know there's no deep threat, that makes the defense against the run even better. It makes run blocking even harder. It makes it even harder for your running back. And then when you combine that with play calling that, let's just say it's predictable. Like if I'm sitting at home and I know what the Steelers are going to run, pass, then that means the defense knows too. But it starts, all that cascading effect starts with the fact that they have a quarterback who really doesn't get the ball down the field anymore. And by the way, the fact that he comes up and says what he says, like Carson Wentz, who sometimes people compare to Roethlisberger, take notes. That's how you do it. I play bad. Of course people are talking bad about me. Like he owns it. And he's done an amazing job for a 38-year-old coming back off a catastrophic injury, playing as well as he had, changing his style of play, not holding the ball and using his physical strength and everything and moving around in the pocket, just getting rid of the ball quickly and compensating for a loss of arm strength and also probably for durability issues. He's smart, being 38 now. But that doesn't absolve him, or it does, if you're pointing to who is to blame, where does it start? You got a quarterback with there's no vertical passing threat. That's where it starts.
Yeah, I think where this really starts fundamentally is from a physicality standpoint. The offensive line has been in a state of transition right from the very get-go during the regular season. They've had issues at right tackle. They've had issues at left guard. And then fundamentally, they just don't have the same kind of commitment, or they haven't had the same kind of commitment to running the football, because when you're not gaining 4+ carrying the ball, what happens is offensive coordinators tend to shy away from the passing game. Quarterbacks tend to shy away from the running game. Quarterbacks tend to audible away from the running game, and it winds up becoming a one-dimensional type of scenario where they wind up throwing the football. Has the short passing game, the catch and run game, been a big part of their offense this year? Yeah. Why? Because of issues with pass protection. So they start to throw the ball short because they don't want to get the quarterback hit. Now, as they know that teams start to then kind of come down and suffocate the passing game, what happens? Because, well, then they have to start taking some shots down the field. And admittedly, especially over the past couple of weeks, and especially on Monday night, Ben hasn't hit some of those deep shots, although they have been there. They have the people to get down the football field, but they have missed them. But if you really want to lay blame at what is going on with this offense in particular, it started all the way back in the beginning of the season with the offensive line just not being characteristic of the same types of lines that they have had in the past. Lines that they had when I played against them all the way back in the early 90s, where they just came and punched you in the mouth right out of the gate and established the fact that they were a two-dimensional team. They don't have a play-action passing game right now because the